What's up, YouTube? Today I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about my gear and how I put it to use for shooting classes. So I previously did a video on the basic Infidel Warbelt. I've also done a separate video on the different various US Grunt Gear pouches that I use, as well as different US Grunt Gear equipment available. And I've also done a review or overview on the various G-code products that I use. So now I figured it's a perfect time to show you guys how I put it all to use in the field. So let's get into it. What you see here is a basic setup for handgun classes. So here you'll see an RTI wheel mounted at belt level. It is my opinion that whenever you can run a pistol higher, it's better. It takes less distance for you to reach down to grab the pistol and deploy the pistol from a higher position on your body. So whenever you can run the pistol at belt level, you should. If you're using the pistol as a secondary weapon in a rifle or shotgun class and you need it out of the way to run extra pouches or something here, that's fine. But when you can run it high, you should run it high. So, so I put my RTI wheel here for that. Most shooting classes require you to have some form of, pistol retention, obviously. They want you to have some sort of sturdy holster, be it a sturdy leather holster or a polymer holster or a Kydex holster. You guys all know that I use G-code holsters and love G-code holsters. So this is my G-code holster. You can see my pistol safety check here, G-code holster at belt level. That's that. Moving on, for two general tools that are pretty much handy in any type of tactical or training situation, right here I have a Leatherman Mutt. As multi-tools go, this is your gun's best friend, and this thing is just awesome, so I always keep it on my gear right here. Second, a tactical flashlight of one form or another is another key piece of gear to always have on you. Never know when you'll need a light, and so I always keep one on my gear right here. The accessory pouch here has two main uses. The first one being this loop field across the front. What I use this for, you can use it for morale patches or whatever, but what I use this for is a name tape. In classes, instructors are constantly critiquing your shooting, watching your skills evolve, and commenting on ways to improve. And having your name right here, most instructors will ask you to write your name on a piece of masking tape and stick it on your clothing. Having this loop field right here means you can just stick your own name tape on there and always have it on you, and always have your name obvious to any instructor who's critiquing you. So I always have a name tape on here. Inside the pouch, of course, there's plenty of room for whatever kind of storage for items you might need. Two items that I always put here. One is a fat Sharpie marker. These markers come in handy anytime you need to mark shots on your target, or anytime you need to total scores for drills and write your scores on the target. Having your own pen means you will not have to use a community pen, and you won't be having to ask anyone to borrow their pen. So I always keep my own pen on me in my accessory pouch. The other thing that I always keep in here is a roll of shooter's masking tape for taping up holes in the targets. Anybody who's shot at paper targets knows you constantly, you know, after you score the round, you tape up your holes, so you have a fresh target to know which shots were for which drills. So having your own roll again means you won't have to use the community roll. You won't have to ask for some of your neighbor's tape. You'll always have your own right where it should be. So I always keep a roll of shooter's masking tape in my accessory pouch. Moving on here, mag pouches. Now, for something like a handgun 1 class, you may only need 3 magazines total. So you may only run 2 magazine pouches plus 1 in your gun. I tend to run 3 at all times. Handgun 2 sometimes asks you to have anywhere from 3 to 5 magazines, maybe more. I've found that 3 mag pouches plus a mag in the gun has always served me well. So that's what I've run with from Handgun 1 and Handgun 2 in multiple different you know, shooting schools. This has always served me well, so this is what I stick with. Of course, you should always run your magazines with bullets forward. That's just a general rule of thumb for proper reload technique. So that's what's up with that. The next thing is I always run a Grimlock style hook right here. What I use this for, when you don't need it, you know, when it's going to be in the way, it folds over flat so it's not in your way. But when you're looking for a place to stash your gloves, I always use gloves in the classes. I put these little eyelets on them and I can just hang them right off the gear like so. I always know where they're at. They're right in front of me, easily accessible and easy to get to. So that's what I use this clip for. Last but not least, the dump pouch. When I'm taking a class that requires me to access the dump pouch from both sides, I will run the dump pouch centered on my gear here, so that I can reach from either end. But when it comes to a pistol class, you know, I shoot right-handed, shoot my pistol right-handed at least, and reload with my left hand. There's never a reason for me to need to access the dump pouch with my right hand, so I found it easier to run it off to the left. Basically what this does in this situation is it gives me a one-stop shop on my left side to access a fresh magazine, switch it out with what's in the gun, and then dump the spent magazine into the pouch. And over and over and over, this one-stop shop lets everything happen right where it needs to happen. The other thing is that a lot of times, you know, everybody who's taken a class knows that these magazines deplete very quickly, and you're constantly forced to make sure that these magazines are topped off. So most people end up putting a lot of loose extra rounds in their dump pouch, as do I. When we're told to go back and, you know, freshen up and make ready, I will put about 150 rounds in my dump pouch and then top off all my magazines, and that way in between drills when the other group is taking their shots, I can constantly be topping these mags off and making sure everything is fresh every time my group goes to the front. So that's what's up with this. In a situation, you know, like a rifle or shotgun class where I'm using a secondary firearm as well as my primary, I will actually run it centered. But in this case, for handgun classes, I find that the left side is the smoothest and easiest for everything to happen over here. So that's what's up with that. The last thing to note on this setup is that I tend to run during training. My gloves are on. I tend to run the front half of both sides as slick as possible. The reason for this is that when you have to go prone or lay down, anything that's up in this area or this area is going to jam directly into your stomach, and it's going to be painful and annoying, and it won't let you get a good, seat on the ground. So I almost always try to run the front half of both sides completely slick, so that when I get into the prone position, I'm not uncomfortable. And I will say, obviously, for pistol classes, it's not as important. You don't tend to go prone as much in a pistol class, but I try to use the same reasoning through all classes if possible, and so I just keep stuff away from the front half of my belt, and that's the way I've always done it, and that's the way that's done me right, so that's the way I'll keep doing it. So anyway, to recap on what we have here, we have, and I'm in California where there's obviously mag limits, so we have 10 rounds in the pistol. We have anywhere from 10 to 30 rounds over here in the mags. We have 150 spare rounds in the dump pouch. We have a Sharpie marker and some shooter's masking tape in the accessory pouch. And we have a tactical flashlight and a multi-tool on gear at all times. So that is my basic pistol setup. A setup similar to what I've discussed should get you through most pistol only classes with little to no trouble at all. Of course, feel free to ask any questions in the comments, or if you have any ideas about ways that people could run their gear differently. I definitely encourage conversation on the topic, and by no means am I saying that this is the only way. This is the way I've always done it, and the way that's worked well for me. So hope you guys found this informative, and stay tuned for part 2 of this series, where I'll go over the configurations that I run for both Rifle 1 class as well as Rifle 2 class, where you're using a pistol and a rifle together. I hope you guys had a good weekend, and take it easy.